Welcome back to the lab. Once again, it is your old Professor Pilk, and we talked the other day about what raids were incoming and what we kind of expected to see. And I really kind of thought that we would see something from Raging Bolt here sometime, soon. I really thought it was going to come more sooner than this. It seemed like it was something that was coming with the more recent DLC, but that DLC is now over a month old, going on 2 months old coming up here shortly in a couple of weeks, and we have yet to see much of anything on that. So, we talked about it a little bit, and we finally got the answer. The next raid is actually to be Miss Magius. Now, this makes sense. We are getting a ghost Pokemon for a ghost raid. And I don't expect this to be a 7-star raid. I believe it's a 5-star raid, though they haven't really disclosed the star rating on it yet. But being that it's not, like one of the starters or anything really specific like that, I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say this is probably going to be a 5-star raid, which means your opponent is going to be level 75. And being level 75, any level 100 unit is going to have a significant advantage. If you didn't know, the difference between level 75 and level 100 is insane. It really is nuts, just the difference in power between those two levels. So most people going in here aren't going to have much of a problem. Now, it is going to have a Ghost Terra, so any normal unit or fighting unit is going to be at a major disadvantage. But beyond that, a dark unit or something of that nature should be pretty easily able to overwhelm Miss Magius. It's really not that big of a deal. We'll come up with a couple of builds, and we'll talk about those after the event drops. But it's really not going to be a huge issue. In fact, we'll probably talk about a few of them tomorrow. But the main thing that makes this really interesting, and the reason that I really like this for the Halloween event, is the fact that this is going to have an increased drop rate for rare candies. Now, while I think it is arguably true that the XP candies, especially the large and extra large XP candies, are a better value, the honest answer here is that once you get up to level, mid 80s, maybe even 90s, the rare candy itself does become a better value. So for me, oftentimes what I do is I will use my extra large candies to just get up to whatever level, use large candies from there to get up to the 90-ish, and then rare candies from there. But in this game, I've never carried a huge number of rare candies. I've always been, maybe tops 20-something rare candies. Whereas with XP candies, I have hundreds of those bad boys. Especially after this guy right here. We farmed him for days after the event ended. And that's what's actually really interesting. It's something that you might want to consider when it comes to this. Because, when we discussed Decidueye the other day, I kept my Decidueye raid active by staying offline after the event. And because of that, I was able to keep Decidueye for over a week after the initial event ended, and then a few days after the rerun ended. I did unfortunately do some trades and things like that, which did kind of ruin that. But I did farm. I think I've got, I don't know how many, tons and tons of extra large candies, and literally hundreds of the large candies. So in this situation, being able to get tons of those rare candies is going to be an asset. Now, how many will drop per raid? I have no idea, but these raids are going to be running all of the time. Remember, you can always go into the into the Poke Portal, and then people will be running these raids from their accounts. You can run the raids from your account. And do bear in mind that when you need to refresh a raid, you can always go into the settings, reset your date. The easiest way to do that is just set it to midnight 01 the following day, and you can just keep doing that. I highly recommend being offline when you do that, though I have yet to see anybody actually get in trouble for doing this online. I'm a play it safe type of person, and if I'm going to do this, I'm going to stay offline while I do that. And also remember that if you are offline, you can continue doing this even after the event has ended. So don't just get content. Once the event has ended, you can keep farming this nearly indefinitely. So, Ms. Magius, while I am kind of I get it for Halloween, it makes sense for Halloween, and then maybe after that, we'll start getting more of that other kind of stuff we talked about the other day. But start preparing today, Ms. Magius. I'm thinking, a high-level, level 100 Ghost. For me, I'm probably just bring Giratina, to be honest. Dark units especially are going to be really good here. The downside to Ghost is most of the stuff that's super effective against Ghost is also super effective against, with a few exceptions. But obviously normal and fighting types are no-goes altogether. So start preparing now. I'll drop a couple of builds tomorrow. Some, we'll do the usual stuff. Easy stuff to acquire in the game. And then, some of the weird fun things, like in my case, Giratina, that I'm going to be relying on almost predominantly for this, that you could really knock this out of the box with. And then, of course, if you have some of the belly drum builds and all that kind of stuff from the other event, being that she's level 75, I'm sure those are going to be basically one-hit kills. So lots of options on the table here. And while I am not necessarily, I won't say disappointed, I was kind of hoping for more for the Halloween event. I kind of get it, especially with the extra rare candies and being, a ghost unit. Does make sense. I think they could have done more, but you know what? It is what it is, and it's casual. It's not something that people are going to have to go out there and really, go crazy on. The good news is it does seem like it's going to run a little bit longer, and it's going to run and actually end on Halloween night. So that'll be really interesting and give us a little bit of an extra time to take advantage of that. So like, comment, share. I'll come at you guys with a couple of builds tomorrow. That'll be a lot of fun. But for now, I'll catch you guys for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet coming up here really soon.